Good day, everyone. I'm Teacher Michelle, your science teacher. Come and explore the wonderful world of science because in science, it's not just magic, it's real. Before we start our lesson, let us know the different online classroom rules. First, you need to find a comfortable and quiet place to study. Second, be prepared and on time on your scheduled online class. Next, be prepared. Prepare all the materials needed. You also need to stay focused and disciplined. Finally, you need to submit your assignment on time. Our lesson is about weathering. Science 5, Quarter 4, Week 1. In this lesson, you will be able to describe how soil is formed through weathering, explain how rocks are broken down into soil, and show appreciation on the importance of soil. Let us have a short review before we proceed with our lesson. Match column A with column B. Choose the letter of the correct answer. Let us answer. For number 1, the kind of rock that is formed from molten rocks, it is letter C, igneous rocks. 2, the kind of rock that is changed from other rocks is letter D, metamorphic rock. Number 3, shale is an example of this kind of rock is letter A, sedimentary rock. Number 4, a metamorphic rock formed from limestone is letter E, a marble. And last, a sedimentary rock formed from pressed sand is letter B, a sandstone. Have you ever wondered where does the soil come from? Now, look at the picture. What place is this? Yes, this is a river in Maragondon, Cavite. Have you been to this place? What do you think happened? Why the rock in this river is formed like this? Watch, observe, and learn. Earth is mainly composed of rocks that differ in terms of sizes, shapes, and colors. Though rock seems to be very hard, dense, and indestructible, they still break. Rocks are broken down into smaller pieces by the effect of weather. These pieces do not move to a new location. They simply break down but remain next to one another. The breaking of rocks into fragments is known as weathering. Weathering is an important process that helps shape the Earth's surface. The breaking of rocks results in the formation of soil and different landforms. This is also the reason why we have amazing rock formations. There are 2 forms of weathering. It can be mechanical weathering or chemical weathering. Mechanical weathering is a physical wearing away of rocks without any change in their chemical nature, while chemical weathering involves a change in the composition of rocks that allows them to break down into pieces. Here are some of the agents of weathering. Number 1, water. Water can break rocks in different ways. The strong waves that sit into the cracks of rocks can make them break. When it gets colder, this water can expand and turn into ice, which can trigger rocks to break as well. Another agent of weathering is wind. Wind causes beautiful formations like the Mahayao Arc in Sabtang Island, Batanes. As the wind blows, it carries sand and small rock particles that scratch the rock's surface. This can bring about mechanical weathering, which can also result to different rock formations. When rocks are exposed to varying temperature, it expands. If rocks are exposed to a low temperature, it contracts. The repeated expansion and contraction of rocks due to changes in temperature results in weathering. Some plants like lichens, ferns, and mosses can also trigger weathering. It can grow on rocks and cause them to break into pieces. Eventually, metabolic or life process of these plants will cause the gradual breakage of rocks into smaller pieces. Trees can also trigger weathering. Its growing roots can break the cemented ground in search for more mineral in the soil. Animals that live underground also contribute to weathering. As burrowing animals dig deeper, they cause rocks to break into pieces. Humans also contributed in the weathering of rocks. Subdivision developers use a bulldozer to flatten mountains or hills to build houses. Some construction workers use jackhammer to break boulders of rocks as they repair roads. Mining companies extract stones or rocks from a quarry or an open pit mine. Some miners throw dynamites and other explosives on a quarry site to give more rocks or stones. This mining activity can trigger landslide. Let's explore! Learning task number 1. For learning task number 1, please prepare the materials. If materials are not available, you may use other materials available at home. After performing or watching the experiment, let us answer the processing questions. Number 1. Based on your observation, in which setup did the soil move faster, and why?
The soil moved faster in setup B because the water was poured rapidly.
Question number 2. Based on your observation, in which setup did the soil move farther, and why?
Based on my observation, the soil was moved farther in setup B because the soil was carried by the rapid movement of the water.
Question number 3. Based on your observation, which setup moved more soil, and why?
More soil was moved in setup B because the fast movement of the water carried more soil.
Number 4. As you observed, what happened to the color of the water?
The color of the water became brownish or muddy.
5. Based on the data collected in the experiment, what can you conclude about soil erosion?
Based on the data collected, I therefore conclude that the rapid movement of water can be an agent of soil erosion.
Learning task number 2. For learning task number 2, please prepare the materials. If materials are not available, you may use other materials at home to perform the activity. After performing or watching the experiment, let us answer the processing question. Number 1. As you observe, how does the speed of fanning affect the shape of the soil?
I observed that the intensity or the speed of the air affects greatly the shape of the soil.
Let's do the 20-20 rule. Close your eyes for 20 seconds. Learning task number 3. Use a Venn diagram to compare and contrast mechanical and chemical weathering. Write your answer on your notebook or on a clean sheet of paper. Mechanical weathering is a physical wearing away of rocks without any change in their chemical nature. While chemical weathering involves change in the composition of rocks that allows them to break down into pieces. While the similarity between the two is that both of them are processes that wear away rocks into soil. Learning task number 4. Identify the change happening in each situation. In your notebook, draw a heart eyes emoji if the change is an example of mechanical weathering, and wow emoji if it's an example of chemical weathering. Number 1. A boulder of shore is slowly broken apart by the force of water. Number 2. Earthworm makes tunnels in the ground which may lead to the breakdown of stones and rocks. Number 3. Some plants release chemicals which loosen the rocks and cause them to break. Number 4. Water inside the rocks freezes and melts again. Number 5. The chemical composition of rocks changes when acid is produced by the roots of some plants. Number 6. Minerals in rocks dissolve. Number 7. Tree roots can grow into cracks and break rock apart. Number 8. As the wind blows, it carries sand or small rock particles that scratch the rock's surface. Number 9. As the rocks expand, the cracks become deeper and new cracks are produced. And number 10, rocks exposed to the intense heat of the sun crack and crumble when rain falls or soak in the ground. Did you get a perfect score? Awesome! Let's do learning task number 5. Describe how rocks turn into soil in the following pictures. Picture A. Possible answer: the growing roots of the tree grow on rocks and cause them to break into pieces. Picture B. Possible answer: the cold temperature makes the water to expand and turn it into ice, which can trigger rock to break. Picture C. Possible answer: the strong waves that sit into the cracks of rocks can make them break. Picture D. Subdivision developers use a bulldozer to flatten mountains or hills to build houses, which contributed to weathering. Let's do learning task number 6. Read each question carefully. Write the letter that corresponds to the correct answer. Number 1. It is the breaking of rocks into fragments. A. Erosion. B. Flooding. C. Weathering. D. Runoff. Number 2. It is a type of weathering that involves a change in the composition of rocks. A. Chemical. B. Both chemical and mechanical. C. Mechanical. And D. Electrical. Number 3. It is an open pit mine where rocks can be extracted. A. Landfill. B. Reservoir. C. Open field. D. Quarry. Number 4. Which of the following tends to cause physical or mechanical weathering? A. Animal that burrow in the ground. B. Water that seeps into the pores and cracks of rocks. C. Root of plants growing into the cracks of the rock. And D. All of this. And number 5. What will happen to a rock when it is exposed to higher temperature? A. Contracts. B. Evaporates. C. Expands. D. Sink. Let us answer. Number 1, letter C. Weathering. Number 2, letter A. Chemical. For number 3, it's letter D. Quarry. Number 4, it's letter D. All of this. Number 5, letter C. Expands. Hope you got all the correct answers. What else can I do? ICT integration. Concept mapping. Look at the cards with important terms. You will decide how the words are connected. Using PowerPoint presentation or MS Word, make a concept map to show how weathering takes place. Submit your output in our Google Classroom. What I have learned. Number 1, what are the ways on how rocks turned into soil? Number 2, describe how rocks turned into soil. Application. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, many people plant different kinds of plants. They use plants to keep them busy during the quarantine period. Some of them started planting to support their daily food supply. We all know that soil is very important for plants. And as a grade 5 pupil, how will you show appreciation on the importance of the soil? Let's say you and your sibling decided to make a vegetable garden in your backyard. You fill the raised garden bed with soil. You shoveled in 1/3 of a cubic yard, and your sibling shoveled 1/2 of a cubic yard. How much soil did you and your sibling put into the garden bed altogether? Evaluation. Match the definition of column A with the concept in column B. Write the letter of the correct answer. Number 1. It happens when rocks are exposed to a low temperature. Number 2. A type of weathering characterized by a physical wearing of rocks. Number 3. As agent of weathering, they dig deeper, causing rocks to break into pieces. Number 4. As it blows, it carries sand or small rock particles that scratch the rock's surface. And number 5. The process by which humans extract stones from mountain. Let us answer. Reflection. Using the symbols below, choose one which best describes your experience in working on each given task. Draw it in the column for the level of performance. Be guided by the descriptions below. Draw a star if I was able to do or perform the task without any difficulty. The task helped me in understanding the target content or lesson. Draw a check mark if I was able to do or perform the task. It was quite challenging, but it still helped me in understanding the target content or the lesson. And draw a question mark if I was not able to do or perform the task. It was extremely difficult. I need additional enrichment activities to be able to do or perform the task. Hope you learned a lot. Thanks for watching.